far enough.
Good morning. Happy Pride Month. I really wish I had brought my rainbow flag fan with me because I am warm. So this is a new day in a new month. And this day is full of sound and smells and passion and love, as it should be in Pride Month. As Reverend Joseph always says, this day has been waiting for you. It's been waiting to embrace you. This day is waiting for you with open arms, just for you. So let's take this day, as I paraphrase, and open ourselves up to love and acceptance as it should be, because everyone deserves to be loved, no matter who they love, no matter what they look like, no matter where they come from. We all deserve to be loved. So, come, let us worship together.
We have a few announcements this morning. We need volunteers to staff the UUYO booth at Pride in the Valley in Warren, Ohio on June 17th. We have 2-hour shifts starting at noon until 8 p.m. It's a fun event and good chance to meet new people. If you are interested in volunteering, please contact Jan Grisby. Those folks that are interested to become members or become more deeply involved are invited to join us today at 12:30 in Schweitzer Lounge downstairs. Please join us for coffee and snacks downstairs immediately after the service. Now please join us in hymn number 118 in the hymnal, This Little Light of Mine.
This little light of mine gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Hi, my name is Clover Wagner, and I'm going to be a senior next year at Lakeview High School, and I'm president of our school's GSA club. For those of you who don't know what GSA is, it stands for Gay Straight Alliance, and it's a club that welcomes any and all students to join. At Lakeview, I like to plan 2 meetings a month during the school year, one of which will be educational, and it will be focused on helping the members learn about different LGBTQ+ holidays. And our second meeting every month will be a fun one, such as one meeting this year we had a hot cocoa party. Our club is a safe space for us at Lakeview in the same way that this church is a safe space for me. Most members of our GSA club don't conform to any specific religious beliefs due to past bad experiences with religion and church. I being a prime example, I used to hate going to church, but ever since we started going here, I haven't hated going to church anymore. This church has made me feel so welcomed and comfortable since the moment I stepped in the building. This church has helped me be able to be proud of myself in a religious setting. As we light this chalice, I want everyone to think about the things that make you proud of yourself. Take those things and let them inspire you throughout this Pride Month and continue on inspiring you. Thank you.
Please join me in reading the covenant of our church, which is found in your service. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
But he didn't stop wanting a doll to hug and cradle and take to the park. One day, his grandmother came to visit. William showed her how he could throw the ball through the net attached to the garage outside. He showed her the electric train clacking along the tracks, through the tunnel, over the bridge, around the curve, until it came to a stop in front of the station William had made. She was very interested, and they went for a walk together, and William said, "But you know what I really want is a doll." "Wonderful," said his grandmother. "No," William said, "my brother says it will make me a creep, and the boy next door says I'm a sissy, and my father brings me other things instead." "Nonsense," said his grandmother. She went to the store and chose a baby doll with curly eyelashes and a long white dress and a bonnet. The doll had blue eyes, and when they closed, they made a clicking sound, and William loved it right away. But his father was upset. "He's a boy," he said to William's grandmother. "He has a basketball and an electric train and a workbench to build things with. Why does he need a doll?" William's grandmother smiled. "He needs it," she said, "to hug and to cradle and to take to the park, so that when he's a father like you, he'll know how to take care of his baby and feed him and love him and bring him the things he wants, like a doll, so that he can practice being a father." The end. The kids are going to be joining me to go downstairs, and then afterwards we're going to go to the park if you all didn't get the memo.
170, we are a gentle, angry people.
Gentle, angry people, and we are singing for our lives. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing for our lives. We are a justice-seeking people. We are singing for our lives. We are a justice-seeking people, and we are singing for our lives. We are young and old together, and we are singing for our lives. We are young and old together, and we are singing for our lives. We are a land of many colors, and we are singing for our lives. We are a land of many colors, and we are singing for our lives. We are gay and straight together, and we are singing for our lives. We are gay and straight together, and we are singing for our lives. We are a gentle, loving people, and we are singing for our lives. We are a gentle,
Please join us in a moment of silent meditation.
Our church is completely supported by pledge income from friends and members like you. Excuse me, I'm trying to read my notes here. If you wish to make an offering to the UU Church, please designate it on your envelope or check. Each month, we give away any unmarked money to a community organization. This month, we are giving away the plate to PFLAG, and Marguerite's going to come up and give us more information.
Good morning, and thank you for choosing PFLAG Youngstown as the Giveaway the Plate recipient this month. PFLAG is the nation's largest organization dedicated to supporting, educating, and advocating for LGBTQ plus people and those who love them. PFLAG is LGBTQ people, their families, allies, working together to create a just, inclusive, and equitable world. We lead with love, as our founder Jean Manford did in 1973, marching in New York City's Gay Pride Parade with a sign reading, "Parents of gays, unite in support of our children." A radical act of love at that time. Our PFLAG Youngstown chapter is one of hundreds across the nation. Begun in 1989, we have held monthly peer support groups. Since then, spoken at schools, prisons, community groups, and many other places. We advocate for equitable laws and policies and speak out against laws and policies harmful to LGBTQ plus people and their families. For more information, you can contact us on Facebook, at our email, or you can talk to me. So on behalf of PFLAG's Board of Directors, we thank you for your support.
Our reading today comes from 1 Corinthians. If I speak in the tongues of men or of angels, but do not have love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have a faith that can move mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor and give over my body to hardship that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails, but where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. For we know in part. Lost my place. For we know in part and we prophesy in part, but when completeness comes, what is in part disappears. When I was a child, I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. I talked like a child. When I became a man, I put the ways of childhood behind me. For now we see only a reflection as in the mirror. Then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part. I lost my internet, hold on. So sorry. Leave it to me to have technical difficulties. Okay, now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even as I am known fully. And now these three remain, faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. Then I have a poem, a UU poem. I'm all nervous now because my technology's wonky. Okay, and this is actually a part of the queer prayer for winter rites. So, okay. As we gather in the darkness and in the light, let us give thanks and witness to our chosen families who we have traveled a lifetime to find, who gather with our beloveds in living rooms, in churches, in kitchens, in bars, in bedrooms, on Skype and Twitter, at the theater, in our memories, in our hopes, in the silence and the noise. We witness and hold these families, no matter the size. Families of 1 or 1,000, families of 90 years or 90 minutes. We rejoice in the opportunities to care for our beloveds, to feed them, to listen to them, to share our spirit's fears and desires, and simply to share space with this precious kingdom, holy and sanctified as any bloodline. We celebrate our shared time as holy days. For every time we commune with our beloveds, we make that time and space holy. And for those who are alone, we wish hallowed solitude, that they may feel love of self and love of the mystery. May those who spend these nights of sacred darkness alone know that they are important. They are connected, they are divine. We celebrate each holy day as we find them together. May we be present in this time of darkness and light. May we hold on to one another in the quiet. May we do what we can to make sure everyone we love is warm and full of food and hope and love. May it be so. It is my great pleasure to introduce our guest speakers, Bobby and Eddie.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My husband has me starting a timer because I'm a teacher, so I tend to like to talk a lot, so. I am Bobby. This is my husband, Eddie.
Hello.
Good, you want to talk about?
Oh, so who we are in general. We were born in very different scenarios. Bobby's originally from Western Pennsylvania. He was born and raised in Newcastle. I was born in Dominican Republic, a little island in the Caribbean. And when I was younger, I moved to New York City, where I grew up with my mom and my sister. And we kind of have a lot of similarities in regards to how we grew up. Very strong women, mothers who kept us in line and taught us the value of faith and responsibility, and always making sure to do good in your community. So I think that kind of puts us where what pride means to us in general. And I think it's the fact of just living authentically and not living in fear of the fact that even if people don't understand, we want to show and portray that we are as equally important to love and to be loved by everybody.
And after we first met, one of the things that brought us together was our faith and our love and wanting to better a place where we had lived. And one of the first conversations we had was about wanting a family, because when we both grew up, that was not something that was accepted for a gay couple to want to have children, and it was harder to overcome these things. So that was one thing that really brought us together. And when we decided that it was time to have children, we were put in connection with the Bear Foundation in Lawrence County. And one of the first things we did when we researched this organization, we found out it was a Christian organization. So we called them and said, will there be an issue? We are a gay couple looking to adopt. And they welcomed us with open arms.
Yes.
And love and acceptance for who we were. Because it was our job to give kids that needed a loving home. So their primary goal was to match up foster children with families to provide a loving, safe environment for those children. So, which leads into our wedding story, which is quite amusing. Do you want to tell them? It was a very romantic proposal.
So I was working, and at that time, I worked in a brick and mortar. Since COVID, I've transitioned to work from home. But he's a teacher, so he calls me up, and he wants to tell me what are the steps we need to follow to have a child. And I'm like, okay, I have 5 seconds, go ahead. And he goes, well, we need to do X, Y, and Z, and we need to be married for over a year. So I think that we should, what do you think about a June wedding? And I'm like, that's wonderful, getting proposed on the phone. So I said, let's talk about this over dinner tonight. And he realized it, and it was lovely, and it was very us, very unexpected, very jump in and sink or swim in some way, shape, or form.
Exactly.
So it was a lovely little proposal that I will cherish forever.
And that's why we chose, when Jan asked us to speak, we talked about Corinthians 1, is what we had read at our wedding ceremony.
It is kind of important.
That we find important about this aspect of love, loving each other, loving our neighbors, loving your family and friends, and loving our community. And as we went on to plan our wedding ceremony, one thing we wanted to be prevalent was this love, and we wanted to showcase to people that our wedding was no different than what would be considered a traditional marriage. And one of the only arguments we got in planning the wedding ceremony was cutting the cake and feeding each other a piece of cake.
Hated it.
Eddie hated it. He was more nervous I would shove it and mess up his beard and his hair for the day. I
work hard.
And my purpose of it was just to show everyone in the community that it was just a wedding. And I won that argument. So we cut the cake. He did not get icing.
In front of 300.
In front of 300 people, yes. Which leads us to, our main point of how we like to live our authentic lives. We find it important to just be us and change minds by being us. As he said, I'm a teacher in public education. I have a variety of students and families that have different backgrounds and different views. And my job is not always to push my view upon them, but to authentically live my life. So when you go into my classroom, there is a framed picture of my husband and children. I will talk about him just as anyone else would talk about their spouse during the day. The kids will ask questions. And it was only just 2 years ago was the first time a student actually came up on June 1st and said, Happy Pride. So now it's become a tradition. We put up a little bit rainbow banner. We put embrace diversity on the classroom door so they know that everybody is welcome.
And I agree, outside of just, his career, we are very active in our community, serving different boards to kind of show that visibility, because I think it is important for people to see that, we are a thriving and very smart community that will provide a lot of opportunities and great ideas to kind of move forward. When we were looking for homes, one of the biggest concerns with in our street was like, are we going to have conservative neighbors, especially that both of our neighbors are elderly, and we didn't want to kind of make them feel uncomfortable in any way, shape, or form. And that's kind of that fear, that saboteur that goes in your head, and you're like, oh, I'm fearful that they're gonna hate me. And it was completely the opposite. We moved in, Jan, so many neighbors showed up with wine and pizza and embraced us and made us feel at home, and it has become a second family to us. I mean, we basically have picnics with the family and the other family. So I think that visibility and that authenticity has really portrayed in our community in general, in all the organizations that we also support.
And when dealing with, people often ask us, how do you deal or how do you approach those that maybe don't understand or don't agree with you or, spew some hatred towards you? And the simple answer is just love. We try to meet people where they are. We try to live our lives as an example for them. And that's how you really go about changing hearts and minds, having that respect, having that understanding of each other. And some lessons I teach some of our high school students. I also direct our high school musical. So we have a lot of LGBTQAI+ students that are part of that. But I tell them, some arguments aren't worth it. Some people you're not going to change. It's just simple, learn to walk away. And as you continue to live your life authentically and with love, you will start changing those hearts and those minds one by one. Yeah. Because they will see you are exactly the same as they are. And at the root of everything is love.
I agree. How are we doing in time?
We're good on time. We're at 8 minutes. So that's a bonus, right?
That's great. So in general, outside of just the ability of, unacceptance and bullying and homophobia, like our boys, we have, our sons are now 16 and 10. And I think our teenager was the first one to experience that kind of conversation about like, oh, you have two dads. And it was hard for him because he did not, it's a process of him understanding where he wants to be popular and liked and appreciated by his peers, but he loves us dearly, so he doesn't want to like kind of just shy away from it. So, we had those conversations, and, I said to him, you kind of have to understand that even if you lie or you try to make these people that are hateful like you, they're not liking all of you. They're only liking what they want to like. They, because you're part of us and we're part of you. And, this part of your life, you just cannot completely erase it because you're forever going to be our son. So it was awesome to see that he understood that and walked away from that. And a year later, those same guys, you know, are now his friends, and they joke around and stuff. And you know, he started to have a little girlfriend, and he said, well, just to make sure, you know, I have 2 dads, so you're okay with that, right? Because if not, then let's not even proceed. So he has grown his own personal, like, kind of pride about where he comes from and who he is, and that's awesome to see. And our youngest is...
I'll take the youngest. The youngest is a character, but he moved in with us when he was just turned 6.
No, 5.
He just turned 6.
He was 5 when we got him.
His birthday's in November.
He's
He
not
just
in
turned-
November, in July.
Well, July, but he moved in November.
He was 5.
We'll continue that argument later. But when he did walk in our house, you know, one of the first things I remember, he stood in the entrance area and he looked around and he was like, oh, so you 2 live here? Yes. Just by yourselves? Yes. And now I live here too? And I'm like, yes. And he's like, oh, I think I'm gonna like this.
Yeah.
So that was kind of his acceptance of and acknowledging that, you know, he was living with 2 dads at that point in time.
Yeah.
And then it was a transition for him because, you know, his biological family was
A little bit.
a little homophobic and they didn't quite understand, and he still had visitation with them. And that was a process of working with the biological family as well as him about, you know, at the root of it all is respect and love.
A lot of respect.
A lot. Yes. Mom is involved still in his life, so, you know, and she loves us and we love her just as much.
And then, you know, how he deals with questions and concerns about having 2 dads who would like to go.
Not when he slams somebody up against the locker.
But he's still working on kind of like not being angry. And that's our biggest struggle with him. He wants to protect us a lot, all the time. So if anybody says anything inappropriate or
he doesn't understand. You know, one example was he was in the cafeteria. One of my coworkers who teaches 2 doors down from me, her son was like, oh, Jackson has 2 dads, they're gay. Well, our son immediately thought he was saying something that was slanderous or not appropriate and wanted to attack him, which was, you know, quite amusing because his parents are very open and very loving and accepting, and his uncle's also gay. So it took some explaining to him to understand that is not a bad term, or the child was not using that in a bad way. It is a fact that Dad and Poppy are gay.
yeah.
So it took him a minute to get that.
It takes him a minute, but he's our protector. Anytime anything uses the gay word or anything of that magnitude, he's alert and willing to go into battle. Sometimes we have to keep him arms.
Arms distance,
Yeah.
yes.
You know, as we have grown our family and extended family, I feel that, you know, I think that a lot of people have really captured the essence of who we are when it comes to just acceptance and caring for others. Because even people who don't have the same kind of belief in regards to our love and for our family, we have learned that they respect us and you know, keep us in high regards. Like,
Exactly.
so it's been nice to know that all the work and all the kind of things that we have done have really impacted for people to realize that, again, we are just 2 people who love each other and want to have a family.
So the teacher in me wants to sum everything up in
Go
a nice
for it.
ending thing. I promised him I would go from A to B and try not to detour along the way.
Yeah.
So, I mean, overall, just, you know, live an authentic life of loving, respect other people, meet them where they are, and, you know, their hearts and minds will change. We want to thank you for having us today. It's been a beautiful Sunday of love and support and welcomeness. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Please join us in singing hymn number 311.
be a dance. Let a dancing song be heard. Play the music, say the words, and fill the sky with sailing birds. Let it be a dance, let it be a dance, let it be a dance. One to follow, one to lead. Feel the rhythm, feel the need. To reap the harvest, plant the seed. Let it be a dance, let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you, through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Everybody turn and spin. Let your body learn to bend. And like a willow with the wind, let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. A child is born, the old must die. A time for joy, a time to cry. Take it as it passes by. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you, through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Morning star comes out at night. Without the dark there is no light. If nothing's wrong, then nothing's right. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let the sunshine, let it rain. Share the laughter, bear the pain. And round we go again. Let it be a dance.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we keep in our hearts until we meet again.
As we depart, remember the one great truth. You are loved and never truly alone.
Someone that they don't approve of. So you hid your love away. But your love is not their dominion. No matter what they say, learn to let go of the old ways. Send your love across the boundaries. Learn to let go of the old ways. Send your love across the boundaries. Your love is yours to love. They can't hate your love away.